Most people use ChatGPT completely wrong on LinkedIn. They try to auto-generate posts, they try to make the AI do all the work for them, and they create too generic content, and as a result, it just completely flops. But after managing 100 plus LinkedIn accounts and generating over 3 million in revenue, I found the exact specific ways that you can use ChatGPT to actually help you get more clients on LinkedIn. In fact, using these exact hooks, we've helped our clients generate 15 to 30 calls per month on LinkedIn. And today, I'm breaking down the entire system. So rest assured, this isn't some BS video where I'm going to give you a bunch of prompts that don't actually work and that I don't actually use designed to get you to click and to watch this. I actually use this stuff in my business and it actually works. So let's get straight into it. So the first tactic and hack is something that nobody actually talks about, and I'm really quite surprised about it. AI is really good for ingesting data, analyzing data, and creating insights from that data. So the way that I use it, when I take sales calls with highly qualified prospects that are, right, the perfect fit, the right size, they're saying all the right things, I take that transcript of that call and I literally plug it into ChatGPT, and I use this very specific prompt which helps me gather out the insights. Now, using those insights, I get all these content ideas and I get really specific words that my ICP uses that I'm going to push into my content, my sales strategy, my sales decks. And I'm going to exactly show you what these are right now. And this is the exact prompt I use. FYI, I'm going to have all these prompts down below in a link. You can grab all of them in a Google Doc, super simple for you. So firstly, this is a discovery call transcript between myself, name, and a qualified prospect name. So I say the names because I want to give more context. And when I download the transcripts from what I use as fireflies.ai, it really just helps have the AI have some context. So your job is to read the whole transcript and give me insights to help me with my marketing and sales strategies. So what it's doing is it's telling the context and it's giving the task in a high level. 1. Identify all the prospect's main pain points. Show me quotes of the exact words they used. You can prepare more than one quote. What I'm trying to do here is very clearly identify what the prospect struggles with, and I want the words that they said. I want to use those exact words. 2. Identify all the prospect's main desires and interests. You probably know what the desires and interests of your prospect is, whether it's to get more money, make more sales, reduce costs, like there's something there. What I want here is I want the way that they said their desires and interests. I want the, again, exact quotes and the words they used. You can prepare more than one quote. 3. Identify any of the times the prospect responded positively to me. Show me the quotes of the exact words they used and what they were responding positively to. This is really important because when you're on sales calls, you will notice that sometimes you say things and it just hits a trigger. It works and they start responding positively to it and they really engage with it. And that means you have a really sellable idea that people want and want to buy. I tease these out by having towards the end of my sales calls, I essentially ask, out of everything we spoke about today, what was most interesting to you? And then they tell me what they've responded positively to. So this little prompt is actually pulling out that information, so I know, hey, this guy or this girl wants to be sold on this specific thing. They actually really like this and they want that more. And 4, identify any of the times the prospect responded negatively or confused to me. Show me the exact quote of the words they used and what they were responding negatively to. Apologies. You can prepare more than one quote. So what are we doing here? Sometimes we say things on sales calls and the prospect gets confused. They're like, huh, I don't get it. Or what do you mean by that? If they're asking a clarifying question, it means we've done a few things. We haven't explained it well enough, or we've gone too deep, or we've gone too broad. And this is an opportunity for us to recognize there are parts of our sales pattern, or there are parts of the things that we're selling that they don't have the awareness for. And that will help me adjust my marketing, because if I try to speak about things that they consistently get confused about on sales calls inside my marketing, it's probably not going to help me on LinkedIn to get clients. So what you're going to do is you're going to copy the script over into ChatGPT, and then you're going to write transcript, and then you're going to literally paste your transcript over here. So what I've done here is I've attached the transcript to this ChatGPT prompt, and I'm going to write the transcript is attached, and I'm going to hit play, and we're going to go see what happens. And so all of this stuff starts coming out. So prospects' main pain points. What we don't have is a push channel, basically where it's through direct message. They literally use the word push. Like, I'm now going to use the word push in my marketing. If you're probably watching this and you're trying to copy me and what I'm doing, you're going to see the word push a bit more now. We haven't nailed the clear path to direct message to book calls, basically. If I were to go into my audience analytics and see who's viewing it, not enough of those larger companies are viewing this content, basically. Our content doesn't have a unique tone and voice. It's helpful, somewhat authoritative, but it's not spicy by any means. I'm getting so many interesting pain points that the customer has that I'm like, damn, this is really valuable. And I'm going to push it into my marketing. My customer's main desires and interests, which I'm not surprised by, we want to book more calls calls this month. Deal quality is more important for us than the number of deals. I know this is true. This is across all my clients. If you want to sign big clients on LinkedIn, we have really specific strategies to do that, because I've recognized as well, now that I'm booking around 90 calls a month, that deal quality and lead quality is so important. I would rather have less calls and higher deal quality than having more calls and lower deal quality. And that's what we help our clients do. We really go into it. We identify what parts of their content strategy need to change to bring in a big client. And this is exactly what we're doing right now. And then there's things that I say that I get positive responses to, and there's things that I see that I get negative responses to, which I understand what's going on, and then I can adjust it in my marketing. And so all these things here have now changed the way I'm going to do my marketing. I'm going to actually input those ideas that were mentioned. I'm going to make posts out of them. I probably here have at least 4 or 5 LinkedIn posts that I can write based on ideas that are verified, validated by the type of client that I want to sign. This is how you combine sales and marketing. You analyze sales calls transcripts of qualified prospects and you push it back into marketing. The biggest mistake that you can do right now is take this prompt and apply it to an unqualified sales call, because what you're going to do is you're going to put unqualified ideas back into your marketing. You're going to create more unqualified sales calls for yourself. So don't do the wrong thing here. Use this prompt intelligently for the right type of calls that you're having. Now, this tactic has helped us improve our content strategy. I'm now going to give you another tactic and hack that's going to improve the performance of your LinkedIn post by at least 10 to 50% in a few seconds. So this next prompt is what's going to take a content piece that's already been validated and proven on the platform and take it to another level. And the reason why we do this is because we don't need to start from scratch when we're trying to create posts on LinkedIn. What I mean by this is we personally might have a bunch of posts that have performed well, or we have competitors who have posts that have also performed. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take their posts, we're going to analyze it, and we're going to make tweaks based on an idea variation that's created by AI. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a prompt that basically says the following. This LinkedIn post performed well. I want to reuse this post. Give me 10 variations of the hook. Okay, and now this is how you know that I've actually written a prompt that actually works, not some BS prompt that everyone else tells you. The hook should be a maximum of 60 characters in the first line, then a line break, and then a maximum of 54 characters in the second line. It can be shorter. For example, it would look like, and I write 60 A's and then 54 B's, because I want the AI to recognize this is how hooks look on LinkedIn. Again, if you watch any other videos of ChatGPT on how to use AI, they don't speak about this little bit here. So they're creating these LinkedIn hooks that don't even actually fit the length that you need on LinkedIn to get it on the correct level so that it doesn't hide the see more button. This hook should be short, impactful, and capture more attention than the first version. Be creative, use numbers, use clever words, capture emotion. Give me a diverse set of output. I'm using you for creative testing. So this is the source actually, and I'm going to explain why. This bit is going to get you an average response. This bit over here is what makes your response really powerful. And I've actually, I'll be honest with you, I've given you the generic prompt. And what I mean by that is internally, I have very specific theories and data on what type of hooks work really well. And so I have names to them. I call them authority hooks, lead hooks, contrast hooks. There are a bunch of things that if you do a hook in a certain way, with certain psychology baked into it, it performs really well. So what I actually do is I have training docs that are 5-10 pages long that people get access to, and I copy and paste those training docs into this prompt so that when it's creating the hook, it's actually creating it to a specific mechanism that I use on my posts that I know works on LinkedIn to get big clients to come in or to get more impressions. However, this generic prompt works pretty well. So you can use this bit at the end. It will get you pretty good output. So we're going to use it right now together, and I'm going to show you how it works. Again, if you want to make the prompt better, any prompt that I'm doing better, all you got to do is add to the end of it your context. Whenever you add your context to the end of any of these prompts, you will have a better output because it's about your specific part of what you do on LinkedIn or whatever service you sell. So let's get into it. Let me copy and paste this prompt into ChatGPT. So I'm going to write the prompt there. I'm then going to write post. So I've got one of Paolo's posts here that did pretty well. So the post is how to sign B2B clients with content in 2 words, show expertise. And blah blah blah, explain some stuff. Post there, I hit enter, and what's it going to do for me? It's going to give me 10 variations of hook. So stop chasing clients, start showing expertise. 1 B2B clients, focus on these 2 magic words. 2 words land B2B deals and you're ignoring them. Clients don't care about you, they care if you deliver, blah blah blah. I'm not debating how good these hooks are because I know I personally will make them better if I like one. Like I quite like this one. 2 words land B2B deals and you're ignoring them. Like this is quite an interesting one for me. What I am caring about is that it's giving me a diverse range of outputs and it's triggering me to think about new ideas. Like, forget fancy funnels, show this to, I actually quite like that. as a separate one. Overwhelmed by tactics, try this 2 well strategy. That's like a really good hook. I don't like rhetorical questions personally in hooks, but if you're overwhelmed by tactics, try this 2 well strategy. I like that. So what I'm going to do is I can then take my old post, I just change the hook, and then I post it on LinkedIn. And ideally, I'm using a post that's 2-3 months old, so people forget that I've even posted it in the first place, and so it's a new fresh post. I haven't had to do much work for it, and ideally, I'm getting more impressions on LinkedIn. So AI can make your post perform better, but how can AI help you get to the right decision makers really quickly? And what we're going to speak about here is connection requests. Now, the typical way that people think about AI in connection requests is using AI to personalize the message. And whilst that's an awesome tactic, I think it's more fundamental than that. How can we use AI to create the cleanest lead list for us that when we connect with them, we have 1, a really high connection rate, and 2, we're only connecting with qualified decision makers. And the way I do this is I use a couple bits of software. The first software I use LinkedIn Sales Navigator. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is one of the best sources for leads and the database because it has this feature that says posted on LinkedIn. What I mean by that is if you go on the lead database and you scroll around, you can toggle this button. It said, have they posted on LinkedIn? And if they posted in the last 30 days, it essentially shows only those profiles. Now, I don't actually care what they posted about or why they posted. I care that that's a signal to show that it's an active profile. For example, if you look, there's 100,000 profiles on LinkedIn that we can think about right now in, say, a certain sector. Let's say it's accountancies. Of those 100,000 accountancy profiles, how many of those use LinkedIn to get a new job? How many of those use LinkedIn once a year just to scroll around? Or how many of those actually use LinkedIn on a weekly, monthly, daily basis? I don't really care about the formers, I care about the latter because those are the guys that are going to see my requests and accept my connections. So I want to definitely use that filter, and this is one of the only places I even get that filter. So the first stack I use, the tech stack, is LinkedIn Sales Navigator. I get this awesome list. I then use Clay. Clay is like an AI-powered Google Sheets. What I mean by that is you can start with an initial data set that you scrape from LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So you have a bunch of rows that look just like this. And we may have used some industry filters on LinkedIn. The problem with the industry filters on LinkedIn, they're quite fuzzy. They're not very good. People can describe themselves in lots of different ways. So let's say we get a scrape that looks a bit like this. We've scraped a bunch of accounting companies and insurance companies. We can then have an AI column that says, visit the website, which is, let's say, column F. Open the website up, read the web page, using the data on the web page, classify whether or not this is an accounting company or an insurance company. So we're going really into specifics. Do they have an insurance page? Do they have an accounting page? What are they describing themselves as? So a lead list that maybe started at 1,000 leads, for example. If you pass it through the correct qualification criteria with AI, that lead list of 1,000 might become 400, 300, 200. And essentially what we're doing is we're whittling down that lead list into the really qualified number of people. Now you may be thinking, why am I trying to make my list so small? The reason why is LinkedIn has a natural limit. You can only send 100 to 200 connection requests per week on LinkedIn. So if we, out of those 200, send it to people that, aren't posting on LinkedIn, i.e. aren't active, and they're not the right industry, what you're effectively doing is you're wasting those connection requests. You're wasting that quota, and that's going to make your performance dramatically decrease. I have a case study internally. We've done this actually. Every client is a case study actually. If I took my clients and I didn't do what I'm describing right now, my connection rate would halve. Like straight away half. I can get 40% connection rates, it will become 20% because I didn't do these specific things. So in this category over here, we applied an industry categorization. I was looking for accountancy firms. I was just trying to double check that everyone I was connecting with was an accounting firm. And if you look at the prompt that I'm using, it's quite a specific prompt. If I look at it, it's literally saying your job is to determine if a company is either an insurance or accounting firm based on a review of their website. You'll be given the company's website URL as an input. If the website discusses and has a review of either insurance or accounting, it's probably an accounting. Do your very best to determine. This is your input. If it's accounting, respond accounting. If it's insurance, respond insurance. Otherwise, do your best to label, etc. I'm using GPT-4o Mini and it's doing it all inside Clay, and I get a confidence rating as well. So what I'm doing here is I'm doing a task that actually I used to have a virtual assistant do several years ago, and I used to spend around $500 to $1,000 a month on people manually classifying companies and classifying leads, and now I just do it all with AI, and this actually cost me. You can actually see how much this cost you. Each row cost me 0.00067 pence. Or sorry, cents. So maybe this whole thing cost me 10 cents. I don't know. Now that we've qualified the lead with an awesome AI prompt, we can then go plug it into a connection outreach tool. For example, I use HeyReach. I literally just copy and paste this database or this lead database into HeyReach. I write a message and I send it off, and it's really, really that simple. And so with AI, I've probably doubled to 4x my response rate or my acceptance rate with my messages because I'm actually speaking to the right people and not the wrong people. The next tactic that I actually recommend that you use if you're just starting on LinkedIn is this one, and it's to create post templates. So the prompt is turn this LinkedIn post into a post template. So for context, a post template is like a post that has like placeholders in there that can help you write the post yourself. And so the prompt is keep the exact formatting, bullets, bold, line breaks, spacing. Replace any numbers with X, replace any specific points with placeholder, where placeholder explains the idea. Your post item should be agnostic to industry, service, or action. Make sure to capture the idea of each line. For example, if a bullet point is talking about a negative thing, explain that in the placeholder, keep placeholder short. This prompt works really well when you're starting off and you want to get an idea of how to post on LinkedIn and how to change a winning post that you see on the feed into something that you can do. Now, I'll explain to you where it works really well and where it doesn't work very well. So let's get straight into it. So here's the prompt. I'm going to copy it into ChatGPT. So I've copied it into ChatGPT and I'm going to write post. And I'm going to put the post in one of Paolo's ones. And I'm going to go for something that's quite basic as a post. So this, for example, is quite a relatively basic post. When you realize booking 50 calls a month from LinkedIn is simply doing all these things. So I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it there. And I'm going to run that post. So when you realize achieving a desired result is simply blah, 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 and all these little things. So how does this work? This works well if you understand that every bullet here is just speaking about the actions one needs to take. Now the AI has gone spending X hours creating, recording, posting. Like this might not be specific to your niche and it might not be specific to you. So it kind of doesn't do well in scenarios where it's very specific to an industry. But when you apply these post templates to influencer posts that are like generally quite generic, quite broad, it works really well. So let me give you an example. This is a really simple post. It did really well by Paolo. I never thought I'd say this, but LinkedIn's made me lazy before I was doing this, after I was doing this. It's not a very complicated post. So if I put this post back in there, and again, I know GPT has like a prompt memory. So I know GPT has a context window and it has memory of what's going on, but I like to restate the prompt in these sort of scenarios. So here's the prompt again. I say it. Never thought I'd say this, but here we go. This is a much better output than before. Never thought I'd say this, but platform or tool has made me lazy. Before, undesired result. After, desired result. High effort, action 1, ineffective strategy 2, overly aggressive, misaligned approach 3. This is really broad to any industry. Anyone can take this post template and work it. This one is a bit more specific to LinkedIn or to content marketing. So this prompt works really well when you're focusing on more generic posts that are generally quite shorter and begins to fall apart when you go for longer posts. And what this means is when I work with clients, our post templates go a bit more specific than this. What they mean by is I would even have a post template that describes this type of image you should be using in this post, because if this post didn't have a picture of Paolo with a coffee next to some window overlooking some mountains, it wouldn't have performed as well. So this comes in the post templates that we give to our clients because we know there's detailed nuance beyond just the copy and paste template itself. I also know that when we have more industry specific posts that worked in our specific industry, let's say in ghostwriting or content marketing, and we want to apply it to a completely new niche, I probably will get involved and change that post template myself because I know the nuance of that post that made it work. So for example, the post that worked really well when I showed you earlier, when you realize booking 50 calls a month from LinkedIn is simply, the reason it worked really well is because we had a big number in the hook and every single number in each of these bullets was a small number. There's a reason why that is importantly done. We did that very particularly because that's what it's required to make that post take off. We also had a long batch of things with very small numbers here. So all I'm trying to say is post templates work, but there is nuance behind it. So you got to be really strategic about the things you're saying. So when you read the output, think, is this capturing why this post took off? Or am I missing something that the AI just doesn't get? And finally, because you've watched so far, I'm going to give you a monster prompt that works really, really well. So again, I don't really use LinkedIn to generate posts. I use it to repurpose posts. And because we have a really good map of what posts work on LinkedIn, I know that when you start from a certain idea, it's really easy to translate it into a very specific post type. So what I'm going to show you is how you translate a step-by-step guide, so a listicle like first I did this, then I did this, into a carousel template that's really easy to use in any of your design tools, whether it's Figma, Canva, etc., or PowerPoint, whatever you want to use. So let's get into it. This is the prompt. Actually, I'm going to show you a bit of the prompt and then you can grab the rest of it in the description down below because it's actually way too long for me to see. But you're an expert copywriter. Your task is to convert a step-by-step guide into a carousel template for LinkedIn. You must stick to the outline template very closely. This is a step-by-step carousel. Then there's a response guide. Each thing should be mentioned once through the carousel. One slide is one step. If there's a lot of text, you can create 2 slides for a single step. If this happens, keep the title of each step the same. The general structure of the carousel is intro, teaser. So I know, for example, by the way, that carousels should be in this format. That's like my knowledge coming into it. So I know the best carousels have teaser slides. So you have this intro which explains an idea, and then the next few slides are just teasing and agitating and not really getting into it, because then it captures more clicks on the next button of the carousel, which feeds the algo, which gets you more dwell time, which gets you more impressions. Then you go into the steps, you then have a summary slide and an outro slide. I then explain what the slide should be, how the output should look like, and then I even give an example. Again, you can get the example down below of how this should look. So I'm going to show you now how it works really clearly. So I'm going to copy and paste this carousel prompt into ChatGPT. And then after I put the carousel, I'm going to write, here's my step-by-step guide. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this to another level. I'm going to take one of my step-by-step guides that I had in another post before, where I explain like, first you do this, then you do this, and so forth. And this is an AI ChatGPT hack and tactic that will take a post that you've already written on LinkedIn, turn it into a carousel that's optimized for the algorithm, that's optimized for what I know works on the platform, so that you can get more impressions, more engagement, and save a hell of an amount of time. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this post. This posted fairly well. It's a listicle post. So it says, I booked 124 meetings in 60 days. Duplicate the exact strategy in 6 steps. So I have 6 steps over here. I'm going to copy these 6 steps, and I'm going to then put it at the end of the ChatGPT prompt. And so I put it at the end of the ChatGPT prompt, I paste it, and this is what I get in the output. Booking X courses in hard, 6-step success. And each teaser has a good title. So I've got some teaser ones over here, and then I go into the step-by-step guides, and it's really, really good. And so look, this is the output, and it's really good. We have an intro slide where we give the big tagline and title. I might change a bit of this, but it's pretty good already. We have our teaser slides, which do pretty good. And then we have our step-by-step slides, which do really, really well. And these are gonna work awesome. So what I can do is I can then take this text, stick it into Canva or Figma in a carousel slide, and then I can literally post that on LinkedIn and get a lot of impressions. Now we actually did this for one of our posts, and I'm going to show you that one now. And so this is a carousel. So we actually use ChatGPT to create the title, create this, create the teaser slide, then create this teaser slide, then go into the step-by-steps. What we did personally is, obviously these are all our interesting ideas that are unique to us, and we had screenshots of proof of us doing it throughout the play. We then added a little lead magnet at the end of it, so they got a bunch of engagement as well. So we've done this before, it works, people just didn't know we were doing it. So there you have it, 5 proven ChatGPT hacks and tactics that actually work because they actually use them in my business, and you can tell because they're not generic, they're incredibly specific. So you have 2 options right now. You can keep using basic prompts and getting basic results. Or 2, you can use our proven strategy, because we've done it on hundreds of accounts before, we've generated a lot of revenue, to actually book in 15 to 30 qualified calls per month for your LinkedIn profile. And so this is how you can do it. 1, down below for free, there's going to be the ChatGPT prompts that I use in this video, so you can get going and start using it. 2, you can purchase my course down below. It's extremely affordable, and it gets you to booking 5 calls in the next 7 to 30 days, really quickly, guaranteed. Or 3, if you're a little bit skeptical or you're new to my channel, that's completely okay. There's a video I would love for you to watch. It explains to you how you can add 100K a month in rev to your business through LinkedIn, and it's super simple. So watch that video, and thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you soon. Hit subscribe, hit comment, let me know how you found the video.